here we're going to look at the basic parts of a barrier island. So this diagram is just a really general barrier island diagram. We have the mainland on the left, in this case over here, and then we have this small body of water that separates the mainland from the barrier island. This body of water is called a lagoon. So that's this shallow body of water that separates the mainland from the barrier island. Do note that our lagoon, so the lagoon that separates Corpus Christi from our local barrier island, which is Padre Island, or Mustang Island, just north of it by Port Aransas, is called Laguna Madre. So our barrier island, of course, is Padre Island, and so the lagoon is Laguna Madre. If this were the Corpus Christi area, then what I've labeled as the mainland here, this would actually not be Corpus Christi proper, this would actually be Flower Bluff. And then Oso Bay separates Corpus Christi proper from Flower Bluff, and then Laguna Madre separates the Flower Bluff from Padre Island. So we go through the lagoon, and then usually at the edges of the lagoons, and in this case I've drawn it on just one side, but often it's on both sides, we have a wetlands area, so a marshy area. These areas are ecologically incredibly important because they are often biologically very, very diverse, and the marine grasses and the plants, sometimes mangroves, that grow in this area provide really important habitat for lots of different types of fish. And then we move on to the barrier island. And in many barrier islands, we have a small dune system on the back edge of the barrier island. I've kind of exaggerated how high it is. Usually it's much smaller than this, but just to make sure that it shows up on the diagram here. And these smaller dunes in the back are called back dunes, not surprisingly, because they are at the back of the barrier island. And then we have this flat area in between the back dunes and the dunes at the front of the island, and this is named the barrier flat. And then we have a much larger dune set at the front of the island, which grades into the actual beach. This is often called the ocean beach because it's beach that borders the actual ocean as opposed to beach on the lagoon side. So this is the ocean beach, or just the main beach. The main dunes of the barrier islands are called fore dunes because they are at the front of the barrier island. And then we have the ocean. Just offshore of the ocean beach, we have a series of sandbars here. And the sandbars are very important because they allow the waves, or they force the waves to start to break before the waves actually get all the way to the ocean beach, which means they lose a lot of their energy before they actually land on the beach, or before they actually break fully on the beach, which means that they are picking up sediment from the dune, from the sandbar area, or a little bit in front of it, and then they deposit that sand on the beach. So the fact that the waves have lost a lot of their energy before they actually end up on the beach means that this is more of a depositional environment than an erosional environment. So I'll label these here. These are sandbars. And offshore of most of Padre Island, there are 2 to 3 sets of sandbars. For any of you that have driven down to the National Seashore, to Padre Island National Seashore, as you drive down the park road, you can pretty clearly see the fore dunes on your left if you're heading to the park. So as you're heading south, you see the fore dunes to your left and the back dunes to your right. Just as you first get onto the barrier island coming from Flower Bluff, you don't really see the back dunes at all because they've all been completely removed in order to make way for all of the development there. So the hotels and the restaurants and all that stuff that makes up the tourist economy of the island, all that has removed the back dunes there. So these are the major features that we would expect to see at a barrier island. And again, we can see them all pretty clearly on Padre Island. So next time you guys go out there, pay attention to the features that you see there, because hopefully you'll be able to recognize them after watching this little video.